Let's have a look at closing a table. So we click the Close Table button, and the system will tell you who is required to scan their fingerprints to close the table. Now, depending on the setup for your casino, the users that's required might change, so always just follow what TMS is telling you who needs to scan and in what order. So when all the people are there, we click the OK button, and now we just wait for everyone to scan their fingerprints. Now, once everyone has scanned their fingerprints, we're ready to process our closing chip count. So enter all the chips that is at the table at the time of closing. Nothing more, nothing less. So we enter the chip breakdown. We use the keypad on the right hand side. If you make a mistake, you can use the clear button or you can use the delete button. Now once you've captured all the chips, you will click the save button. Now, once you've clicked the save button, the system will calculate what fills or credits do you need to get your float back to par if you're using a par float. Now, what is a par float? Par float means you close with what you open with, and whatever is not there should be you should receive that as a fill, and whatever you've got more than what you're supposed to have will go back to the table to the chip bank as a credit. So verify the information on screen, and if you're ready to continue, click the Yes button. Now, are you sure you want to proceed with closing the table? So again, we get confirmation from the system. Are we sure this is the transaction we want to do? So when you're ready, click the Yes button. Now you'll see that the status of our table is now closing, and you'll see that the closing fill is pending, that the closing credit is pending, and then the close the transaction is pending. So at the time of closing, depending if fills and credits are required, you'll see that we've got a closing fill, a closing credit, and a closer. Now, only when the transaction is completed at the cash desk will the status change from pending to processed. Once it's past the process stage, it will disappear from your pending tasks. So here you see the closing fill is now changed from pending to processed, and your yellow accept fill button. Now this means the cashier has completed the transaction and your chips are now on its way to the table. So when the chips get to your table, you'll have to accept the fill and confirm that it's the correct values. Now you see that the closing credit is processed, so the cashier has now received the chips that you're sending back, and she hasn't confirmed receiving it yet. That's why the state is still processed. So now we accept our fill, and the system tells us who is required. We need an inspector and a pit boss, and when we're ready to continue, we click the OK button, and the users scan their fingerprints. Now we see the check full transaction information, so it shows us the full ID, what time we ordered it, and the value, the total value for the full. Now if this is correct, we click the OK button. Now the system will ask you again, are you sure you want to proceed with confirming the full with the full ID number for the table AR1? If it's correct, you click yes. Now you'll see your transaction for the closing full will disappear from your pending tasks. Now the closing credit is still there because we're still waiting for the cashier to confirm receiving the credit. Now you'll see that the pending task for the closing credit has disappeared. The cashier has actually confirmed receiving the chips. Now the last transaction is the closer that is pending. So the cashier still needs to confirm that your table is closing, and only then will your status change from closing to closed. Now you can see the table is closed because you see the open table button.